Welcome back to another episode of Esports, Mavers, and Beyond.
How are you doing today, Chase?
I'm doing great, Sage, and I'm excited today because we have Tamika Moultrie from Geek Game Types. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We're excited for the interview. We're sure it's going to be amazing.
Since this is a show for gamers, we'd like to play a little game before we dive in. All right, for a bit of fun?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. It's
Game time. What is your favorite video game of all time and why?
Oh, wow. There's several. It's so hard to pick a lot, but it's a toss up between the Mortal Kombat series because my mom introduced me to that and I get to play against other people and show my skills. And then it's this game that was on PlayStation 1 called Tomba. But I'm gonna go with Mortal Kombat because everyone can relate to it and you're able to compete against other people and pick your favorite character. So it's one of my favorites because my mom introduced it to me as a little kid, a little girl. Before we would go to the movie theater, it would be my dad, my mom, and they'll take me to a movie. But before the movie would play, there was arcades in the lobby. And my mom was like, let's play this for the time being. But it was really fun to play against her because I will always see my dad playing, but to see her get involved with a video game was always a treat. So I would say that's like one of my faves.
Did you enjoy the Mortal Kombat movie?
The first one that came out a long time ago, yes. But the latest one, it wasn't my cup of tea at all. So hopefully the next one, they'll do it a little better.
Oh, do you have a favorite esports team, Tamika?
Esports team. I'm gonna go with Dynamic Focus. That's ran by one of my great friends, Aziza Brown. She's actually like one of the first Black Afro Latina to actually own her own esports team, and she has some of the top players, and some of them actually play in Mortal Kombat too. So I would say Dynamic Focus is my favorite esports team.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Being the first in something is always a big accomplishment.
Yes.
And now we have our bonus question.
Okay.
We've heard you work with some big name companies. Have you had any celebrity encounters? And if so, which was your favorite?
Celebrity encounters. I have, especially like going to Comic-Con or meeting some people on red carpets for TV stuff. Let's see. Favorite. It's so hard. Everybody's just so awesome that I get a chance to meet. But one of my favorites would be Todd McFarlane. I always love bumping into him. He's the creator of Spawn. And he's also done so much for Marvel and DC, especially with Spider-Man. So Todd McFarlane is like one of the favorite, I would say, like celebrities in the geekdom space that I love bumping into. And we always have great discussions.
Oh, that's really interesting. Which Spider-Man trilogy was your favorite?
Oh, I love Miles Morales, of course, but before Miles Morales, the Amazing Spider-Man, especially as a kid, getting to learn more about Spider-Man through the series, the cartoon series. So the Amazing Spider-Man is always a classic.
That's cool. I don't hear that answer often.
Awesome. Thanks for playing. You just earned 400 points.
Oh, okay. I got these 400. Okay.
For people who don't know who you are, can you share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I professionally in these gaming streets go by Red Infamy. That's what everybody either call me Red or Infy or Mika, whatever. But Red Infamy, I've been gaming since I was 3 years old. Like I mentioned earlier, my parents actually got me into gaming. Besides that, just playing video games with friends and family, but I wanted to actually take it a step further. And my background first is in marketing, but when I was little, I wanted to be actually an engineer. So I went to high school for engineering, and then that broke off into marketing when I moved from New York City. I'm from Hollis, Queens, New York. Queens get the money. But I moved actually down south to Florida, and I had a marketing class. In that class, I love being creative. So that kind of got me into wanting to be in marketing. And from that, having that creative spirit, and then also in video games, when I graduated from college, it was during that time as a recession, it was hard to actually get a job. So during that time, I used to just go on Twitter. Twitter had came about, and I would just speak on Twitter and share my thoughts on video games and things of that nature, and connect with other people that love games too. I got to see, that's what's the beautiful thing about social media. You're able to connect with other people and like-minded, those who may be in the things that you like. So I would speak on video games, and then I was actually discovered through that medium by an editor from a large outlet. Shouts out to Anselm. He gave me my very first break professionally in writing about video games for Black enterprise. And from there on, I brought video games to a lot of other outlets that weren't really focusing on video games through my passion of always playing. I play video games every day. Beyond just playing video games, but actually wanting to know more about it. When I was little, I used to go through video game magazines and be like, one day I would love to go to E3. And sure enough, through my hard work of talking about video games and representation even in it as well, got a chance to do that. I got to do it professionally, and I've been doing it for over 10 years now. So that's a little bit about me. Besides video games and comics and stuff, I'm a huge anime fan. I love anime. If I'm not playing video games or talking about it, I am watching anime. I'm a huge sneakerhead, I will call myself. I love collecting sneakers, wearing them. I wear everything. And just like with video games, I love to know what's the story behind certain things that come out as far as the sneaker and stuff. So but yeah, that's a little bit about me, I would say.
Well, thank you. That's very interesting. You've done so much. Do you enjoy journalism?
I do. I think it's a great way to express things that you're interested, or things that you want to see exposed, or educate others on certain things that may not know. Especially in the field that we're in, when it's come to video games and technology. A lot of people think that us as Black, Hispanic, or Native people are not involved with this, and we are. A lot of us are actually the precursors to it, and have been developing and creating in this space for a long time. So that's a strong passion of mine, and I love to see what y'all are doing. Y'all doing an awesome job and having a really great show. Having different people on your show and expressing things through esports or through the metaverse. I just love to see it. I remember when I was y'all age, and I would have loved to have something like this. So I love to see that that's being carried on, passions that I may have in the past, and to see someone as young as y'all to actually do it at a high level. I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tamika, can you tell us a little about your podcast, Hitting Code and Uncovering Black Women in Esports?
Sure. So I guess that was a great segue. So Hitting Code is a web series that I developed in efforts to actually showcase more Black, Hispanic, and Native game developers or innovators in the space of video games and tech, and to pretty much unlock us all, to showcase us all, and have a platform for many of us that's marginalized. I don't like to use the term minority. I don't think anything's minor about us, but just that a lot of times our voice in a space is snuffed out, or not looked upon as valued. And I wanted to have a platform where someone like yourselves, or a game developer, a voice actor or actress, and so forth, can actually showcase their merits or anything that they've created, and actually show it to the world. And we get a touch on who they are, their background, and their creation. So I created Hitting Code for that. I did it pretty much in 2020 at the top of the pandemic during a quarantine. And same goes with uncovering Black women in esports. And I'm going to change it to Black and brown women in esports. And that was inspired by Cuddlecore, Janelle. She's an amazing top esports player, a Black woman in esports. She competes in Tekken. And she made a tweet saying, it's unfortunate how in the world of esports, you don't hear a lot of people covering Black women in their efforts or their positions and roles in the actual industry. And I was like, you know what? Let me make something where I can help in that and interview different women around the space and their involvement in what they do in the line of esports, and show to the world that we are here, we do exist, and we do have a voice, and we can make our own tables to sit at.
Oh, what you do is amazing. It's a unique spin on gaming and esports, and I like it. I
Thank
do.
you.
I also think that it's great that you're trying to help Black and brown women get out there in the world and have themselves become big,
Mhm.
give themselves a name, a reputation.
Yes.
We also heard you used to be the host of Afropunk Culture Code. What was it like hosting that podcast, and how does it differ hosting your own?
So I'm still a host. I'm still a host there at Afropunk Culture Code. It's different because you have other hosts with you, and each person has a different personality. I've been doing podcasts as well for over 10 years, and I love how the world of podcasting has really changed. We even see celebrities have their own podcasts, so we get to see a different angle, a different side of them that we wouldn't see before, besides just their talent on something musical or somebody acting or a comedian and such. But it differs from having your own because you have different personalities to work with, but when it's your own, you kind of could just focus in on that main person that you're interviewing, and it really highlights and show them. With our show Culture Code on Afropunk, it pretty much touches on the culture and the African diaspora of our culture in different aspects, whether it's gaming, geekdom, music, or anything around that's revolving us in the state of a culture of Black people. So it's interesting to hear different opinions, and sometimes we don't agree, and it's great to disagree at times because you get to see other angles and aspects and perspectives on one topic at a hand. So I would say that's the difference. You know, you have your own podcast, you're able to control it the way you want to control it, your creativity. And then when you're on with so many different partners or people as panelists, you kind of get to add your own creative aspect and get other people's creative aspect with it too, to make something really cool.
All right, that's nice. And also, what would you recommend for a beginner who wants to start a podcast? A solo podcast, or maybe one with a couple of other people, if it's friends?
The advice I would say is to start right away. Don't overthink it. And don't think that you need an elaborate setup. You can start right from a phone, you know, record yourself, record your thoughts. That's actually how I practice. I used to practice before I wanted to do any of this stuff. I put it in fruition by actually practicing. And I used to practice right on a phone. I had the very first iPhone, and I used to just record myself talking about topics and heard it and just hear it back. Cause I grew up as a shy little girl, and I had to break through that. And the only way I was able to accomplish and break through was to learn more about myself. So when I got a chance to record myself and practice that way, I was able to alter how I wanted to sound and express me and not sound like anyone else. So for anyone that wants to start a podcast or a show, start right away on what you have. You have things, whether it's your phone, if you have a camera, a webcam, you can record yourself. If you want to start streaming, if you have a PlayStation or Xbox, you can stream straight from that as well. So you don't need the glitz and glam of all this expensive equipment. A lot of times you have things right in front of you that you could start off with. And if you want to start something with other people, try to get like-minded people as well and see how y'all could come together on topics that you all want to talk about. And it's passion, and just start. I would just say start right away with what you have and make sure you're passionate about it, and everything else will come later as far as success on it.
Well, thank you for the tips. I'm sure some of our fans will be delighted that you were able to help them, considering now people are on social media all the time. It's more popular now than it was ever. And I'm sure there will be more people like you to come.
I think your advice was truly inspiring, Tamika.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now, we know that you're adamant about having diversity in gaming. How do you feel that it is currently?
I always feel like there's so much work to be done. The one thing I would say right now is we have a lot of Black game developers, Black voice actors, actresses, mocap models or stunt doubles or what have you that are entering in this space at a high demand, a high calling. And besides just that, we need lawyers, we need writers, and all these different aspects of different professions within the gaming space, and it's coming along well. I just would like for everyone to embrace each other, to expose each other and uplift each other on it, because we can't depend on other people to do it. You know, a lot of times individuals will complain about the lack of diversity, but when you do see someone who has their own company, that's a Black owned company, a Black owned product or something like that, we have to support it in some type of shape or form. We have to expose it. We have to shed light to it. And even liking or sharing something like you mentioned, because social media is high at, than ever before in its creation, you could do the simple things to just help with it. So right now we have shouts out to the Mix, Justin with Black Voices in Gaming. That's an incredible platform where you're able to see Black game developers and there's a showcase. I've hosted it a couple of times, and it was just a treat just to see different Black game developers and see what they created, or see voice actors and voice actresses and see the different roles that they're into as well. So I love to see it now more than ever. We have things like Twitch where you get to see a lot of streamers too, a lot of Black women that I've never got a chance to see like that before. But it makes, when you get to see yourself, you get more comfortable to want to expose yourself on the things that you're into, like something like video games. So I love that. That's one of the great positive things of social media, is that if you didn't know, you're able to now know, because people are now putting their talents and not being so frugal about it and actually sharing it with the world. So I love the improvement of it. It's just that we got to make sure we uplift and support one another so those can be more willing to share their talents to the world than ever before.
Well, that's really, really good that Black people and brown people and people all across social media will be able to help and support each other, especially now too, because indie game developers are becoming more common as well. You can see Black developed games and so much more too. It's great.
Yep, it is. It's a great time right now.
On the topic of esports, what are some ways that a person can get into esports space, like a child?
There's tons of different companies that's relative now, but right now I would say with esports, there's even tournaments. Let's say you want to compete, right? I like to go beyond competing because I feel there's just so much to be in esports than just an entertainer. But let's say you're really good at Fortnite, right? And you are like the best in your class or your school or your neighborhood. They actually have tournaments within Fortnite to actually start doing it and practicing. I would say, especially since there's even scholarships now, that if you're great at a game, you get a scholarship to go to one of your favorite universities or college or anything like that, or maybe endeavors you want to do as an entrepreneur, not, let's say if you want to go that route. So as a kid, I would say to practice. And when it comes to esports, it doesn't just have to be about competing. Like you two, you can be commentators and analysts. You could be statisticians. You can even be a physician on the esports athletes. They go through a lot, even though they're not doing something so strenuous and physical like traditional sports. Mentally, it's very draining. So we need psychologists in those realms. Of course, I mentioned about health, nutritionists. A lot of times when it comes to us as gamers, we don't get a chance to eat well, and that's because we're so busy focusing, but there needs to be education on that, educators on those things. So no matter what you want to be, as let's say you're 9 and you're like, okay, I love video games, but I love talking to people, just like what y'all do. That you could start right away by interviewing, just like what y'all doing. If you want to be a journalist, you could write about your favorite esports players or write about your favorite players right away and make your own blog. You know, there's free things you can make your own blog about. There's a lot of free tools and things of research to start now with it. But I always love to speak about things besides just being the entertainer, but actually being behind the scenes and making things come to life in esports world, even owning your own company with it too. But y'all can start right now with it, right now. So if you wanted to be a lawyer, you could continue and wanted to be a lawyer and represent, because a lot of these esports players, they're not business affluent or know about the law. And a lot of times they have to have contracts drawn up and make sure that they're not getting ran over with certain things or taken advantage of. So you could be a lawyer in esports. There's so many different things you can do as far as with kids. And you could start by just wanting to know, okay, what do I love now? All right. And what can I want to do later with it? It all entwines. You just don't have to be someone who competes. But if you do want to compete, there are local tournaments or things within the video game itself. And I will always say, just go to the website of that video game and see if they have tournaments and stuff, or make your own tournament for your own school. You can do that too. And y'all can compete for prizes or do it for charity. You can compete for charity. And then, hey, you already have your own esports league and your own esports team. You could do it for a greater good. So there's several ways you could get involved. You don't always have to wait for a company to start your path.
Oh, that's really good for people who want to start young. And following up off of what you just said, what age do you think is a good start for kids to try competitive esports?
That's a great question. I'm trying to think, like, when did I grasp the world of wanting to compete or wanted to showcase something? I'd probably say around the age of maybe like 10. I know there's children that I've seen even the age of 7, excuse me, competed in like Tekken. So I think it's really up to what the parent expects, you know, how their child is and what they're grasping and comprehending at that time, and what the kid is actually interested in. You know, if they have a core concept and they can conceptualize something well, as far as like, okay, I love this video game, I want to compete, because there's kids who compete in Pokemon games at a very young age. So it depends. I would probably say like 7 and up to start out. And it might get, as technology progress and kids start learning different languages like coding and stuff like that, or just having that digital type of mindset and understanding in the age we're in, it might get lower than that to the age of 5. So, but I would say 7 and up to me would be the ideal if you want to start in esports, but don't make it too serious than necessary. It's all about also having fun.
Yeah, that is really good advice, because sometimes children can't handle if they lose in a major event. So they should always start small to grow up and then maybe eventually get on a winning team.
Exactly.
So as a woman of color, do you think there are any challenges that you faced along your journey thus far?
That's a great question. Yes, there's been many challenges. So in the gaming industry, you know, the first challenge would be a lot of times that you think you don't fit in, or you think you're not great enough or valued enough because you always see someone who does not look like you at the forefront. And that's something right now that we see a lot of times. And that's why I always say, you know, if you don't see you, then make an opportunity to see yourself. And that's what I had to do. I've got shut down plenty of times on things that I wanted to be or be a part of, or wanted to lead or be the face of, but it ended up going to someone who was white or Asian. And that's what you normally see as the standard in the gaming industry. And that could be very daunting for someone if they think that, hey, if I don't look like them, I'm not going to succeed. So mentally, you have to take yourself there. Like, so if I can't be in this space. I got to create something for myself and make my own opportunity. And I think that's one of the great things of this digital age is that a lot of obstacles that our ancestors have had, our ancestors through our family, from our parents and further on, now we are able to make our own opportunities where there has been a lot of no's and a lot of doors shut in our face. And I've had it countless of times, especially as a woman, but a Black woman at that, where my integrity was questioned. And it could be a downer at times, but actually being, if you have my main goal was that I want to see someone like me in a space that I've never seen before. And because of that, I'm going to make it that if I didn't see it, I'm going to make that I'm the person that someone that looks like me sees it. So they can be influenced or they can be inspired and they can be better than I can, at it. So I love that I was able to kind of put that footprint in gaming history or in our space, and to help those that's coming up right now too. So those who may think that, there's challenges and there's obstacles, there's always going to be, but it's really cool when you're able to find either a sisterhood or a brotherhood in something, or a fellow brother or sister that you could lean on and take advice from. I've had several that I've learned from a great friend of mine, Cherie. She's like the first Black editor of a tech outlet. Kara Mahorn, aka the Blur Girl, several friends like Crunk Girl, like just seeing these different women of color, Black women specifically, Hispanic women specifically in these different spaces. I got to talk with them and be inspired to keep on going. There has been times that I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, but just knowing my passion that I want to make sure that someone that looks like me is able to have those same opportunities and more, it kept me going through those obstacles and challenging times.
That's phenomenal. And you're living proof too that's possible for anybody to be successful in any field, really. Gaming in this case, but if you want to be a doctor, a pharmacist, a psychiatrist, or anything really, it's possible.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's great that in times when you're shunned or shut down, that you didn't quit and you continued going. I think all people should have a mindset like that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Do you think that game developers should make games targeted towards women or females gaming interests?
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about gaming, a lot of times, and I've done this in the past too, but I kind of had to shift my paradigm and how, my thought process, where I used to complain about, well, why? And I'll still bring it up, but it's not as, I don't go too hard at it. And what I'm about to say is I used to complain about, okay, dang, they didn't make this character Black, or they didn't make this character. And I still did it recently. I actually did it on a stream recently because it gets kind of boring seeing the same person all the time. You want to see something different, even if it's not someone that looked like me. Maybe I want to see an Indian woman, as a protagonist. Maybe I want to see a Pacific Islander male, of some sort. It's great seeing different walks of life because you get to learn the perspective of different people. Let's say if you've never been to their country, if you've never grew up around a certain group of people, or ethnic background. It's a beautiful thing learning about different people. We live in a melting pot society and world. It's beautiful to learn about different and others as well. So when it comes to game developers, it's great when a game developer comes from that specific walk of life and they can make a game. So if it was an Indian woman, she could make a video game target towards women in general, or specifically Indian women, Indian little girls. And it has been a couple of games that's come out like that. And I love it. I now, something that I may have a question that I don't want to be rude about, I can experience it through a game. So I do think that if games are going to be targeted towards women or towards Black women or whatever, those people should be involved with that. If it's a game about a Black woman, Black women should be involved in the making of that game. Let's say you're a white guy and you want to make a video game, you want to focus on a Black female character, a Black male character, Hispanic male character, whatever. You need to make sure you get those people involved from that community, from that race, that ethnicity, to make sure that it's authentic and it comes across correct and not rude. So there's been tons of projects like that. So I would love to see, to answer your question, more video games focus and intent on actually selling towards women, because we make up 48% of gamers are women. And as far as those who consume video games on a consumer electronic level by, let's say, regular consoles, Black and Hispanics are the #1 consumers of that. We make up of purchasing those things higher than any other demographic. So there should be a focus put towards the people that actually support and purchase those things. And there should be a lot of more opportunities for that, for someone who's young from those walks of life to create video games, sharing those stories that people of their own could relate to, or people from any other walk of life could relate to. So yes, I would love to see more games focused and dedicated towards women. And not just that it's, girl power OD, but someone who's not a woman could relate to it as well, and kind of get an open lens on how maybe that woman is feeling on that certain situation and story. So I can't wait to see so many different stories and aspects from different walks of life as well too.
Yeah, and Forspoken just came out too. Have you played the game? Did you enjoy it?
I played the game. I got a chance to check it out at Comic-Con before everybody did. So it was cool to play to play the game and see a Black female protagonist for a AAA game. We never had that. The last game where there was a Black female, it was in the 90s. I forgot the name of the game, but it was focused, like she was a police officer and it was still dealing with like a regular violent type of city thing. It's the first time we get to see a Black character in a fantasy realm. We normally don't get to see those type of genres with us as Black people in a fantasy realm unless we create it. But the one thing that I had a problem with was that the people who wrote the game, the whole writers team, were all white and were mostly white women. A white woman can never express anything of how my life or what I've gone through. There's nothing comparable to it. It's just not. So I wish there would have been a Black writers team, or Black developers involved, Black women, so you could get those certain, cultural cues that, just can't be replicated unless it's by someone by that walk of life. So I got to play more of the game because I heard the story is pretty interesting, but I enjoyed how the gameplay was. So that is on my list because it's in my backlog. That is on my list to stream soon.
Okay. Well, I'm sure your fans are excited to see you play Forspoken. I'm glad you enjoyed it too. I heard some people didn't really like the game, but hopefully it's different for you after you beat it.
Yes, hopefully it is. Hopefully it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, since VR is on the rise, do you think there will be more innovative gaming experiences in virtual reality in the future?
Oh yeah. Virtual reality is just amazing. Like VR has been around for so many years, but it's now at everyone's fingertips. Like people can go out and buy a VR headset at a rather affordable rate, because consoles right now range between 500 and up, 300 and up, and now you can get an Oculus Quest 2. My nephew enjoys it like no other. I got a chance to play it all the time. I've been around VR for a long time. Recently, my grandmother experienced VR for the very first time, and she was excited because she loved watching us play video games and stuff, but she actually got to see this new technology. So I think VR will be at ultra heights, and especially AR, augmented reality, especially a great tool too for education. Let's say you wanted to go to Egypt and see the pyramids, but that trip might be so expensive to do for a school trip. If kids was just able to put on a headset and actually see around the Valley of Kings and then get to see how it is inside of an actual pyramid or see Egypt as a whole, or even have a reoccurrence where you go back in time and you get to see something. I know recently Ubisoft, shouts out to them, they did that with Assassin's Creed Origins. They had like an educational section of the game where students can actually learn more about that time in Egypt, ancient Egypt and stuff. So I think it would be a really great medium for education. It's a great medium for health. I love Beat Saber. That's a great game to work out, a sweat on, and have fun working out and getting healthy. It's just so many different things. You can connect with other people from around the world, like you was actually there. I think it's cool. It's scary and cool at the same time because we still need those actual human interactions with each other as humans and stuff, and to understand one another better. So I think that there always needs to be a balance and such, just to say that as a disclaimer. But VR, I think, is going to be at new heights for real coming up in the future.
Well, I agree with everything you said. VR is amazing and can be used for so many things. But as of now, it's mostly for casual gamers. Do you think it will be used in esports sometime in the future?
Oh yeah, I forgot there was actually there was a VR esports game that was trying to go about. For sure, I see that for sure. You know, as a technology homes in to make it affordable and also to make it safe, we'll see definitely more esports things and competing, and like you're actually there in some way, shape, or form. And on a hardcore level, there has been a couple of games that's come out with Alex. I forgot. I think Moss as well too. So the more and more they expand on improving the technology, so people don't get headaches because of playing it for a long period of time. Your eyes is not auto focusing so much, and there's no gate effect and things. They improved a lot with VR, where you can actually play it for longer spurts than normal that was recommended in the past. And they did that over the past, 3 years or so, 3 to 4 years. So I think when it comes to esports and making sure that you can have something that's safe, you can play it for a long period of time. I see that definitely happening because Among Us right now, I gotta play that on VR. That looks really fun. Among Us look like that can be something you can compete in, or I can definitely see it. You're probably gonna see more of that stuff probably in the next 2 years or so.
Okay. That's pretty good. I like VR. Beat Saber is fun. Oh, I also like Super Hot, I think. That's a really fun game.
I gotta check that out.
You have to battle in virtual reality. It's really fun.
Okay.
Have you seen schools embracing esports more now compared to at the beginning of the decade?
Yes, that's a great question. I have seen schools embrace it more, and even parents. I think one of the first things in esports and video games as well is the parents actually understanding how positive video games can actually be for their children, besides just being something taking up a child's time and thinking that they can't learn from it, or it's something that they're just a couch potato, and it's not. It could be, like I mentioned, a lot of cool things in mediums with education, or getting a better education through means. If you can't afford certain programs, and you can compete in something, or you can be a part of something to get a scholarship. So I do see more schools actually embracing gaming more because of the reaction of the kids. When kids are able to have a different medium that they can learn and have hands-on with or excitement with, there's tons of video games. My boyfriend, shouts out the Hip Hop Gamer, he does an incredible actual program called Gaming and Guidance. And he has you have the gaming part where you get the children and even the staff together and compete in something, but they're working together. You might have a student that one student didn't like the other student, but they came together to win with something. I think creates really great personalities and development for kids going forward for when they even grow up and actually shaping their character. So games can help out and diffuse certain situations, could be team members for one another. And it's a learning aspect too. Different video games have a lot of great messages in it that can be tied to today that a kid can actually relate to. Because, you know, if you're going to learn about something in the past, you might not relate about it too much because it happened maybe 1,000 years ago, but or even 100 years ago. But when you're able to attach something that a kid automatically relates to, which is video games, and switch it and flip it on them and say, hey, you see what happened in this aspect right now? That's how this could be changed and worked with, from problem solving to actually expanding your creativity and your thinking with different cognitive skills. I think teachers in the education department and education system now is seeing how video games is not just about violence and so forth. It can be some team building skills, cognitive skills, strategy as well. And it can actually shape the character of their students to be better people in society.
Yeah, that's great. We even interviewed Steve Isaacs from Epic Games. I don't
Oh,
know if you
wow.
know him, but he is really, really an advocate for education in gaming. And so it's really cool to see that evolve, especially in school.
Yes, I wish I had it.
Not to get too off topic, but the hip hop gamer was actually the first person we interviewed on our show.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, did you see the episode?
I did not see that episode. I got to check it out. Now I got to see all your episodes, every last one of them now.
It was fun interviewing the hip hop gamer.
Yeah, his energy is amazing. I know y'all have fun with him.
Yeah.
All right. And now my last question. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years, Tamika, surrounding your career?
Oh, wow. That's a deep question. Where I see myself, I just want to see myself, you know, helping more of us in this space as much as I can, and making sure that when it comes to our people, our Black, Hispanic, and Native people, that there's no imposter syndrome. You know, a lot of times we doubt ourselves, or we think we're not good enough, or we're not able to do something through so many traumatic things that has happened over the you know, sectors of history and, you know, down our family lines. But to actually show that we are very much worthy and great to accomplish a lot of things in this space. So I really want my career and anything I do, period, to be revolved around that, showcasing us, celebrating us, and making sure that we have resources as well to get in the different aspects and industries and sectors of gaming and technology or geekdom or wherever the case may be. So we're more fruitful, we're wealthy in it. So we're able to expand our wealth far beyond generational wise for the next era and the era after that, to be successful and actually have those resources instead of begging others for it. So that's my main goal in the next 5 to 10 years, is to make sure, you know, people of your age are able to have those opportunities and don't have to bat an eye that they won't be able to get what they need to get just because they don't have it, or not confident enough to actually achieve it.
All right. That is a great goal to set. Many people only think about themselves when setting goals for the future, but I'm glad there are people like you who also want to help others.
Thank you.
I really hope you achieve your goals, Tamika.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My last question is, what do you think was the most exciting moment in your career as a gamer and a content creator, also a journalist?
Oh man, that's good. That's a great question. Y'all look good. Yeah, y'all are amazing. My most exciting moment. There's been so many. I would say every moment, to be honest, that I do things like this and I'm getting recognized, or someone wants to interview me. Like I was like, okay, I just never think of it. I don't think of myself too much as I know the great things I do. I know how great I am or how I could be, but it's really a joy when someone wants to know more about me. I think that's always a highlight every time in my career, every time in my day, week, year, whatever, to be highlighted and want someone wants to know about me. So y'all are a part of that. So I thank you so much for having me on your show. And another highlight was me getting my partnership with Alienware. I thought that was just so cool and so rewarding to say that I have a partner, someone believes in me and my content and my goals and my company. And me actually creating Geek Game Tight, which is a platform surrounded around everything we just spoke about today. So those are a lot of my main highlights, and just having the honor and being blessed to have a career in something that I truly love and enjoy every aspect and minute of it. There's trying times. It is very hard having your own company and trying to make it successful in any way, but it's always a treat when you have your own, and then you're able to share with others and see how they can enjoy it as well too. So I would say those are the highlights of my career, is being blessed to do what I'm able to do, help others in any way that I'm able to, and just being highlighted, and always being able to have flowers given to me. I would say it's just always a treat, and I'm just blessed for it. So I really appreciate y'all having me on.
Well, thank you, Tamika. Our experience with you was amazing today, and your
Thank
answers
you.
were phenomenal.
We really enjoyed today's conversation, Tamika.
Thank you. I enjoy y'all. Y'all are a treat.
Thank you.
But before we go, how can people find out how can people find out more about you online in Geek Game Types?
Sure. So everything is red infamy across the board, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I have a Snapchat, but I don't use it. I'm going to start using that medium too. But everything is red infamy. Even if you want to play a game with me, like just let me know, hey, I know you red infamy. Can I play games with you or whatever? But everything is red infamy across the board. And then Geek Game Tight, which is GA, game, Geek Game, and then TYTE.com. That's when you'll be able to see our content, or revolves around showcasing Black, Hispanic, and Native, everything in the geek and gaming realm. Whether you'll see your favorite game developers, to your favorite content creators, cosplayers, and just keeping your gaming knowledge, on tight in the geekdom world. So that's where you can find more content of mine. And then also if I'm streaming on Twitch or YouTube, that's Red Infamy as well.
All right, guys. Well, make sure to check out Red Infamy and Geek Game Types. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
And bye, Tamika, too.
Bye.
Peace.